Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mark Anthony, and I'm here with Diente Loco, and I'm here with Elle, and we have a guest today. Her name is Erin, and she's a therapist.
Hello.
And we are You Talk It.
We bring it.
So we watched the movie this week, and the movie was incredible.
Incredibles 2.
No point intended. But yeah, how did you guys feel about The Incredibles 2, the movie?
I loved it.
I'm just going to mention that this was Lindsay's choice, and she's like a kid movie nerd.
I love little kid movies, and that's all I ever watch. Like, all the time.
So I like it too.
I've seen like Moana and all that stuff like multiple times, just laying in my bed, just it's just, yeah.
Oh, you was watching Aladdin too, coming up like riff raff, straight raff.
That's actually the jam. I used to have all the like the little kid movies back in the day, like the VCRs or whatever.
Yeah, you see the live action movie they make?
Yeah, Will Smith.
Yeah. But yeah, Incredibles 2 was a great movie. I really like the overall storyline they used. Definitely some twists and turns to it.
Yeah, my one con about the movie is that they got a little too political. Like, if you're an adult watching it, they're saying some Trump stuff. They got like a guy that's like Obama in there, and it's just like, leave the political stuff off the cartoons, man. This is why I'm watching this stuff to enjoy my family, not be sabotaged with like political stuff. And I get it. It's another platform to like say some things. But overall, my favorite part of The Incredibles is it's what the Fantastic Four should be. It's like a family movie, you know. Like they got the daughter dealing with like the teenage boyfriend stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy.
The dad deletes the memory. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. It's your
Which
fault.
everyone should.
But it's like and dealing with like dad guilt because he messed up. And it's like, it shows you that, you know, no matter how hard you try, and like the mom is, you know, bringing home the bacon in the context of this film, and it's like he's dealing with that, so like the social structure's all out of balance, and it's like cool because it's like real life stuff, you know. And
You mean like finding a balance of work and family, right?
yeah, and adapting.
And then your enjoyment as well, because I mean, to them, the superhero thing was there.
Yeah.
Like the dad doing the math homework with what's his name?
Dash.
Yeah, he's like, you don't do math like this, and then
He stays up all night reading that book, just trying to help him out. He's sleeping on the couch. I feel so bad for him. Oh, it wasn't even his own math homework, and he stayed up.
and then like the most adorable scene in the whole movie, right? The dad's reading a book to the little monster baby.
Jack.
Jack. Yeah, Jack is ill. And he's like cuddled up in his shoulder, and he's like, the dad's just like sleeping, and he's reading a book. He's like, ah. And the baby just like slaps him in the face. He's like, oh. And
he starts reading again.
that was like adorable, man. And my favorite scene in the whole movie is worth the price of the rental. The raccoon scene.
Yes.
It's free on
I
Right.
did
Netflix.
like that scene.
The raccoon scene is like
yeah.
one of my favorite fight scenes in any
It's a good
movie.
one.
They score up.
Now, do you know that kind of reference? It kind of referenced the Family Guy episode when Peter was fighting the chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, in the middle of the street.
Oh, that
It show was hilarious. It was like 2 episodes, and they was like going at it.
Yeah.
the whole
You,
episode.
you went to commercial break. You came back. They were
They're
still fighting.
That little baby threw some square punches.
Yeah, he was.
He was like, "Pah, pah." Like,
He played,
was
that baby
going
plays
in.
no games though, like throughout the whole entire movie. Like little.
I think he had
child.
17 different superpowers. They said.
Yeah.
Was it
That they know of.
Yeah, they said 17 that you
that
know.
they
of.
found so far.
Yeah.
And like that cold, heartless lady was like,
Edna.
you're not bringing a baby here. She was like, and then like she found out he had superpowers.
Well,
and she was like,
he transformed into her, and she was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I need this baby.
Yeah.
I need this baby.
Baby's life.
She like molded him to his own.
she's like into like fashion design and making uniforms for supers, and it's like that's her thing. So like the more powers he had, the more
Yeah.
She was like, "This is my favorite kid ever."
She had more to work with, more to play with.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a thing because I got some favorite kids. I'm just saying. All right, we all got some favorite kids. I'm like, sorry for you, the ones that ain't my favorite kids.
I got favorite pets.
Yeah, those are your kids, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Love my fur babies.
I think the Screen Slayer. I feel like that they could have made that into like 2 movies though. I feel like
You
they
think
could.
it's crunched?
Yeah, they crush everything into instead of telling like the long story, right? They could have made this Screen Slayer into like a whole movie in itself, and they could have really developed this sense of the bad guy, then led up to it. And like I'm one of those jerks that predict the twist too soon all the time, and then I'm like I spoiled the movie for myself. I don't know why I do it, and then I do it again. So
That's crazy because I really thought it was the brother the whole time. Because, yeah, I really thought it was him the whole time. I was like, nah, it's him. It's definitely him. He's definitely going to turn on him.
But
I'm like, fuck him.
He was just so like, do
Yeah, that's why.
Like,
Yeah. But they were trying to throw you a loop, and they threw me a loop.
They did. No, they did. Yeah.
They threw me a loop, and I took that whole damn loop and ran with it. I was like, you
Yeah.
motherfucker, you going to turn on him. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, I think the pizza guy is still in jail for that Screen Slayer stuff.
Right.
Right?
I think he is.
You know, so
And
I
he
guess
gave
I'm-
Elastigirl quite a fight, too.
the action in this was my hands down favorite part of this. The superpowers, like when it came down to the every fight scene or action scene,
executed
it was really dope. It's like I like that they also played that dynamic of the women were practical and the men. If the men were saving the day, there was a lot of fucked up shit. It's like here's the bill, you know, like he broke the city, and then the mother saves the train, and she's like, whew, and then the train gets bumped by the other train and it doesn't fall off. It's like no casualties, you know, and she's super excited, and the father's like,
Because he's normally the star idol.
Right.
Like he's normally the
Yeah.
main picture. So for once they actually switched that role.
Yeah.
And she held it down most of the movie.
She did.
Yes, she did.
Elastigirl, like, nah, that movie was dope because I don't even think I saw The Incredibles 1. So
What?
I don't even think I saw the whole movie.
Wow.
So when when you pitched the idea last week to, we got to watch this and review it, I was like, okay, something different because I'm an anime freak. Like me, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, like anything anime, like I'm that. Like Aladdin, Lion King. I grew up on Disney movies.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So
Well,
like,
this is your summer then.
yeah.
This is going to be the summer,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
With the Lion King coming out.
Yeah.
Everything's coming out. It's like
Yeah, it's good. This is the year.
So
This is the year.
it's gonna
But
start.
it's all live anime. It's all live action stuff. It's not.
You know when
animated no
when it's gonna start for me in April.
more. ¿Por qué?
Avengers.
Avengers Endgame. Can we talk about Will Smith and the hate he's getting for being blue right now?
I actually love the color blue, and it's my favorite color. So
I think he's gonna be a phenomenal genie.
Oh man, he's getting some pro hate right now on the internet.
Yeah,
It's like no, because he's not Robin Williams or whatever. I'm like Will Smith, just from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would have been like the perfect genie, and I think that's what he's gonna come and bring to it. You know?
yeah.
I don't feel like he won't fulfill the part. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he'll execute it very well and just deliver, like as always, delivers.
But he's getting pro hate.
Of course he is.
Just check it out. He's getting pro hate.
I don't know
They're
if I
like,
want
it's
to.
stupid. He looks like a Smurf. Oh.
He's blue. Genie's blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could talk about that when it comes out. We could do a review on that too.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys want us to review more movies and talk some shit about things and stuff in the
Or
theater,
add some light to it, because if you don't always want to talk mess, we can add light.
Yeah, we can always talk
Okay.
light about things. But
Okay.
but if you guys haven't seen Incredibles 2, definitely go see that on Netflix. It's definitely a good film, good family film.
It is.
For all ages. I think all ages would definitely enjoy that. I definitely
Yes.
enjoyed it.
just ignore the political messages. Just
I
have
actually
fun.
didn't notice it when I was watching it that much because
Yeah.
I was so in tune with like just like all the action stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was so
Yeah.
blindsided to it.
It
Yeah.
was really a good action film. Like I really enjoyed watching Elastigirl like handle it the whole movie.
Being bougie.
She did her thing.
That she
Like
did.
I ain't even gonna front. Like I was like, oh okay, they pushing her because they're pushing her
Yeah.
as the main star. They know what they was doing. So
But,
she definitely held it.
Jack's my star, man. That kid's my hero.
Oh, Faith.
Absolutely.
Number one.
Hands down.
Yeah.
He was a
hands
little
down.
wild for me this movie, man.
He was wild, but that's what I loved the most about it. I was just
Yeah.
like, if this is any like hyperactive little kid, this is it. Like to the T.
I think we all know a Jack.
Yeah.
There
We
was
all know a
Yes.
Jack.
oh,
my gosh.
Another scene that I really liked is when the dad brings Jack home from Auntie
Edna's.
Edna.
Yeah.
And like they're all in the backyard, and
And he has a remote.
he's showing the kids what Jack can do and how to train him with his uniform outfit and stuff like that, whatever. And he's like, watch this, and he has the kid by the feet, and he's saying pew pew, and he's shooting the little lasers.
Oh yeah,
And
the
like
big-
they're all
yeah.
fighting like that. That's like a real family moment. The dad and the kids, like
Right.
they had just had like some things.
They're
with
like,
the
oh,
dad.
cool.
Yeah, man, that was
And they
a
gave
real
him
family
cookies
moment.
as a
Yes.
treat at the end every single time.
The
Got
cookies.
I think it was a really good film. And again, people, if you have not seen that film, definitely go see that film. It was dope. But back to our guest. Our guest for today is Erin,
Yes, I am.
and she is a whole therapist.
I am a whole therapist. One whole piece of therapist. I try. I can
All right.
split myself in half, but I want to be.
You want to be whole, girl.
Yeah, I want to be whole. I want to be whole.
So,
I want to be whole.
Erin, why don't you tell us about like your training in the
About yourself. Something about
education and how you got there?
Oh God. Okay. So I don't want to do the boring part. So I went to school, got a bachelor's, took some time off. Didn't
Where'd
know
you
what
go
I
to
wanted to. I went to UMass, Dartmouth. I was like, this is it. I'm done. Who wants to go back to school if I never read another book again? Blah blah blah. I started working in the helping profession, and I saw these people getting a master's, and they were doing all this clinical work, and I'm like, I'm as smart as these people. I could do that. I just don't have the degree. I don't have the degree to back it up. I
Right.
could do this work, but I didn't have the degree. So I still didn't want to go back to school. So I was like, I'm just going to take one class. Let's just try one class and see how this rolls. And so I took one class, and I was like, I could do this. I guess I could go back to school. I suppose I could do it. So I did, and I went back to school. So that was 3 more years of school and student loans, and then after that I had to work underneath someone with a license for like 2 years to get my independent license, and then I did some outpatient practice. I worked inpatient, and I opened my own private practice, and
Wow.
and that's where I am.
That's very nice.
That is nice. That's dope.
Well, I try.
Yeah.
I try.
No, that's
I try.
good. That's dope.
Yeah. So I like it. I love what I do. I love what I do. I like humans. Humans are very interesting to me.
Interesting individuals.
They are.
When
Yes,
we
they are.
first met, we just started like chatting up on Facebook. See, it is good sometimes, right?
Social media.
And one of the things you asked me about doing was a study. Can you talk about that?
Oh, that's right. I did. So I wanted to do a study of people because people interest me, and I'm always watching. I'm always thinking. But so one of the things I wanted to do a study on was like why we are the way we are. Like what are some of the things that caused you to be where you are today from when you were younger, and like what goes into that. And one of the things that in kind of doing this work that I thought about was I feel like validation is like a big deal for people, right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
most of us need that, and some of our struggles as adults have to do with not being validated. So somewhere in our life, someone either didn't tell us we were good enough, that we were smart enough, that we were capable enough, or we just got negative messages all the time. Like, you're not,
You're not applying
you're
yourself.
not applying yourself, or whatever the messages we listen to our parents, our teachers, our friends, or whatever the case is. And I thought, I want to do a little study and try to figure out, what makes people the way they are, and just look at people from kind of do an anonymous study and just kind of see, what causes people to to be where they are today. And I thought it was just really interesting. So I did a study. I put it out on Facebook, and I asked people to do like an anonymous study. Like, don't tell me your name, just give me a little bit of demographics. And it was interesting that when I did the study, I could see like people from different walks of life, like whether they went to school or didn't go to school, or you know what I mean, whether they're married or single, and kind of all of those things. And it was interesting to see that none of that mattered for the most part. Like, people's issues had nothing to do with their like social status. Like, there were people who had doctorates and they still had issues with how they really truly feel about themselves. And so I was like, I think I write something. I do something with this information. So I've been trying to start to write a little research article to talk about that. Yeah,
That'd be really nice.
Now that's interesting, because this takes us back a couple episodes where we were talking about identity, and we were talking about self-concepts and self-evaluations and daily self-evaluations. Now, how do you feel about, just hearing the word identity and things like that? Like,
I think a lot of people don't necessarily know their identity, or it's been prescribed for them, because they're a man or they're a woman or whatever the case is. There's like a certain role that people have prescribed for you, or what they think you should or shouldn't do. And I think a lot of times as people grow and they get older, they're always trying to change that, and they're trying to figure it out and try to connect to what they identify with, as opposed to what somebody else has for them. I'm not just a mother. I realize that I like this, or I want to go back to school, or I always wanted to do this, or I didn't have money growing up as a kid, so that wasn't an opportunity for me. So maybe I'd like to do this. And I feel like people are constantly, their identities are always changing. I think they're changing all the time.
Yeah.
And some people get it, and the few lucky ones, they get it, they know it, they're confident, and they do their thing. And then there's some people that just struggle trying to figure that out.
Some things like birth order kind of dictate things in life as your identity is, and that we can't change.
We can't change our birth order.
So like that also puts you into certain roles, or like a sick family member and you have to take care of them.
Yep.
One of my friends, he grew up here and his mother doesn't speak English, so he had to do the grocery shopping.
Right.
And as a kid, and then it's like certain roles you adapt to, but then without them, it's like then you also end up losing that identity without that, and then it's like, who am I again?
Right.
And I feel like your life changes like every 5 years, or if you had that sick relative that died, then you got all that free time again, and it's like then people will feel guilty because that relative is dead and they're not taking care of them, or some other certain situations. How do you recommend when people have an identity crisis that they try to fix it?
I think when people are struggling to figure out who they are, I think one of the first things they have to do, I recommend for some people, just to write how do you see yourself? Like when you're quiet and you're not around your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your people, like what's your truth? I think a lot of times people just don't live their authentic life.
Yeah.
They're being something for somebody, and when you're usually a crisis means like something isn't connecting, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like when you have a crisis, like I think it goes back to basics, like when you think of like the core of who you are, like what is that, and start from that point. Like, I feel like I'm a learner. Okay, so what have you done with that? Like, what have you done with that? Well, I haven't done anything. Because then I think a lot of times, like, I feel like the people that are the healthiest are people who've had progresses over life, right? Yeah. So they've achieved things. They keep moving on. They keep achieving like a goal. And there's some people, the crisis is they haven't done that. Mm. And now it's been so long, they just don't think it's going to happen for me. Like, this is just my life. I just have to, accept it.
Through it.
They conform.
Yeah. So I feel like the first thing you got to do is like figure out like who are you anywhere near where you want to be and what's in your control that you can change versus what are you going to have to learn to accept and deal with. Because there are just some things in life you have to deal with. You can't change them, right? I mean, there are just things in life you can't change.
Right.
Yeah.
And back to when you said validation. Do you think people seek validation when they post pictures daily or something like that on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? Like, how do you assess that? Like, what is your overall, like...
You mean like therapist overload when I'm on social media?
Yeah, I want to hear it. Like, I want to hear what you got to feel. Like, what do you got to say about people who do that on social media?
I mean, I don't want to judge everybody. I'm not judging everybody. I post things too. I mean, I think sometimes people have fun. You know, there's things going on. They want to share it. It's a good experience. They're excited about it. They want to share it. That's true for a lot of people. But there are a lot of people who are posting things for a very specific reason to get a very specific reaction. Yep. It's like... and excuse my like judgment, because maybe I've done it too, but it's like the woman taking a picture of her kids, but the focus is on her cleavage and the kids next to her breast. And you're thinking, is that a mother picture, or are you trying to get are you trying to garner like attention for yourself, or like the guy who's taking a picture in the gym to show everybody how much I work out, which. That's okay. I mean, you can be whoever you want to be. That's all good, right? But when it's every single day, that it's like, am I doing it for myself versus am I doing it for somebody else, right? Like, who am I really doing this for, and what am I hoping to get? Like, do I need that 118 comments saying you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that? It's like, I always look to one of the things I always notice on social media is like those filters. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? These filters, and I'm thinking, is anybody really flawless like that? Like, what happened to, like, I have like gray hair and I got like
I got bags under my eyes.
I got some imperfections. Yeah, like, right? I got some imperfections. Can I not be beautiful without
perfectly imperfect?
Perfectly imperfect.
So people who show skin on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, those are the people that you're saying, like, I
feel like for the most part, that's the kind of, like, that's what they show.
I mean, I think some people just, it's fun and they're confident and they don't care and they happen to be at the beach and they're having fun and they're just showing a picture. That's all good. It's the difference of somebody who puts a picture of themselves and the next minute they're talking about, oh, my life, my this, my that, and you're thinking, oh, I thought like things were so great. I thought they were so great.
So setting a trap.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, or needing something. I think sometimes some people just need something, whatever it may be.
Yeah, cleavage.
I don't think showing skin isn't necessarily a sign of whatever. Sometimes it's empowerment, right? Now,
you're proud. You can be proud.
There is.
I feel like depending on how you display.
There's like too much of anything is a good thing. I mean, is a bad thing. Sorry, I'm into excess apparently. But what I really don't like on social media is like when somebody does that feel bad for me post where it's like, oh, I was just into a car accident, my mother got taken to the hospital, or they post a picture of them with like
IVs
at a hospital, and then they don't explain it. It's like then like you find out somebody died. I don't know how many times I found out people died on social media, but then you can't tell if it's something serious or if it's something that's not. It's like, what is wrong with society that's like, first that attention grab, like, oh, I'm in the hospital or I was in a car accident, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm okay.
Right.
Like, that's inconsiderate.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think one of the things that I've thought about, because I really do try to take a step back from judging, because we all look at social media, right? And it would be so easy to constantly judge everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I look back and I said, okay, Erin, don't judge, don't, that little human part, like, don't judge. And then I think to myself, I think that social media has given voice to the voiceless. I think there are some people who take to social media to tell a lot of their personal business and they're airing out a lot of stuff because it's the one place where I can force you to listen to me. Yeah. Like, it may be my husband or my wife or my mother or my parent shut me off, but you can't stop me from writing whatever I want and saying what I want. And somebody, because is going to listen, and somebody might say, I hear you, or I get that, and you just might need that validation, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
brings it back to validation.
like I can force it, right? I can force it. I can get it somehow. And some people really are voiceless. They don't have a lot of other outlets. They just don't have it.
Yeah, see, I had shared recently about my dad, because he passed away a couple of years ago. Like it's gonna be 2 years tomorrow that we took him off life support. So yeah, so I posted something about it a couple weeks ago, and I was never really big on like the logistics of life, my life. I'm the type of person, I wouldn't let people know where I work or anything like that, or where I live or anything
Very
like that.
private.
Yeah, so but like I'll share something like like music or stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I think the way social media is, it's constantly changing. So
But I think it can humanize people too, because you're sharing that story. There's that other part, right? That somebody else has lost their father, and then they're looking at you and they don't feel alone anymore. Like, oh, I'm not the only one who's going through that level of pain. So there is like that unity that social media does bring, because it helps you to realize around the world you're not the only one going through something.
I put a heart on that post.
Yeah, I had several people inbox me, several people that I didn't even know lost their parents, and they inboxed me. They're like, "Yo, bro, like, they were like, if you need anything, I'm here," and a whole bunch of stuff, and these are people that some of the people I knew, and then some of the people I hadn't, I didn't really know too well, and they were like, "Man, if you ever need anything, just holler at me,"
Cool.
So
That's nice.
yeah, you develop, you build rapport, on social media. So
You do.
I mean, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah, I shared a whole lot of things with Erin in the study and personally, because of I was feeling a type of way, and I was going through some things. I thought I was diagnosed with something called Charcot-Marie tooth, and then I got put into the rare disease category, and it's like first it's called, I'm going through this thing, CMT, Charcot-Marie tooth, and I had a support system that I had built over years, right? So I thought, okay, well, I know what it is. I haven't really been back to my support groups on the CMT websites, because now I'm like, I don't have it. Now I feel like a faker for being there, and it's like this.
Well, you didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know.
But it's something, I internalize personally. It's how like I'm an introvert at times, I'm an extrovert at times. When I'm sick, I was in the hospital for like days, and I came back to my house and told my family, like, oh yeah, I was in the hospital, I just got out. Like, why are you telling us now? I'm like, well, you would have came to see me. So it's like,
Yes.
like I didn't die, I'm here, but it's like these things where you have this whole system in place, right? Social media does help with that. CMT is rare. 1 in 2,500 people have it, and it affects your life so differently. I'm not going to say it didn't help me. I still have a lot of the side effects of it, and I still have a lot of friends that I met from it. And part of our dialogue of, me dealing with the stress of, I'm going to openly admit I have some control issues, and I it's just the way I am. I was the firstborn, and it's one of my role things, a Capricorn. Whatever the stars told me to be.
Well,
They tell you a lot. Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
And so the CMT group gave me a place to be for a while, and it introduced me to things like the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. So social media is not all bad.
Definitely not.
But for years and years, I thought therapy was a bad thing. Right?
I know.
So
People think that.
who needs a therapist, right? Everybody.
Everybody. Right? Well, I don't know if it. I think it's like culture, and I don't even think. I mean, so you can go into the individual cultures, right? Black culture, Spanish culture, different cultures in general, right? With the thoughts about. Like keeping things private. But then I think of like American culture as a whole also, because you look back, do you remember when you were kids? You remember what they told you in your house? What happens in this house stays in this house, right? You know, those were things that they said back in the day, and you believed that. So it didn't matter what was going on. You didn't talk about it. And so you grow up, right? So you grow up with that same belief system that what's private stays private. So you're going through really difficult things, right? And you're keeping them private. And then trying to process and thinking that they're not spilling over, right? And they are spilling over, like, you know, like I just have these, you know, little issues, but I don't know why I can't keep a relationship, or I can't keep a job, or, you know, I can't, you know, I have interpersonal struggle with my friends, or, you know, I can't manage my anger, or whatever the issue is that like continues to like come up. And people are telling you, you know, like, oh, you should go see someone. What are they going to help me with? What are they going to do? What are they going to say that's going to be helpful to me? But I always tell my clients, like, you are the expert in this office. Like, and I'm just a person who has a set of tools, my Liam Neeson speech, right? I have a set of skills to help you, like, go through something, to not judge you. So, like, you can sit in my office and you can tell, I don't care what you tell me. I don't care how heinous it is to you, how bad it seems. Like, you can just say it and be real and be authentic and be who you are, and we're going to, like, figure it out. Like, that's what we're going to do. And I don't know who doesn't need that on occasion. Not to say people need it all the time, but life is full of transitions. I don't know anybody who hasn't transitioned in something, whether it was from being in your parents' house to being on your own, to maybe having financial struggles, to like trying to build yourself, to, you know, going through, you know, getting married, getting divorced, having a baby. Like, life is full of stuff. And sometimes, I mean, let's just face it, some people have more stuff than others, right? Yeah. I mean, there's just some people in life who just got a lot of stuff. You're like, damn, that happened again? Like, again? Like, wow. And you think, like, who's going to be there, you know, for that person? How are you going to help them?
It's crazy, Erin, because, you know, 2014, I lost a childhood friend. And
that's tough.
It was like a month before he had died, right? He was just like, I don't want to live anymore. And he was dealing with a lot. He was working like 3 jobs, supporting people. And he just felt like he was just being taken advantage of. And he was just like, I don't want to live anymore. And that was the last conversation. Then I found out he passed away. And then 10 days after that, the girl I was dating at the time, I found out she was pregnant. And she had an abortion. Like, we had to abort the baby because she had a miscarriage. Like, it was
a
like
lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. And then 2017, that's when my dad died. Then my uncle, then another best friend, all within 7.5 months. So there's people who know my story and they're like, yo, you didn't go talk to a therapist or anything like that. I'm like, nah, man, I didn't. And it's not like I was, you know, ashamed or scared to. I just felt like, you know, alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Because when I was talking to, you know, with people and my friends, and they were like, you know, they were trying to like figure out how to assess my issues that I was dealing with and the things I was, you know, at the time. They were just trying to figure out how can they help.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I had one friend, she was looking up everything, like she was for days just looking things up. And, you know, shout out to her. She, you know, that's, you know, we go way back to college. And she, you know, she tried to do her damnness, you know, her best. And I still haven't talked to a therapist yet about it. I don't know. I think I get through life okay.
and a lot of people do. I should say a lot of people do. A lot of people have like some kind of like really great strength that they draw on. Either that they just have it internally. Some people just do. They just can pick themselves up and, you know, and they just figure out how to use their support systems, their people, and they help them to get through it. And then there are just a lot of people who don't know what to do. And, the reality, we all got friends, right? But they're well-intended. Like, people are well-intended.
Right,
like,
right,
when
right.
you're going through stuff, they really want to be there for you. But sometimes you don't know how. Like, what do you say? Like, I'm so sorry. Don't worry. It's going to get better. Like, people say things, and you're like, it is? Well, tell me how. Well, time will make it better.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, you just go to the gym, or you should go for a walk. Like, people really tell you things. And they're coming from a good, solid
trying,
place.
but-
They try it, right?
Like my cousin, he was like, yo, he's like, I didn't know how to.
I don't know what to say.
I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And I respected his honesty. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I sat in my condo for a year, and I was just battling with myself and everything. It was tough, but they were like, I talked to a lot of people. They're like, wow. And they're like, you don't have an alcohol problem, or you're not doing drugs, or, they think the worst because, when you deal with life and you get hit with life like that, they think
Hard,
you're going
right?
to just,
Yeah.
you think you're going to go way under,
Yeah.
and I didn't, none of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is good. Good for you. Good for you. That's wonderful that you were able to get through that and you didn't fall into like pitfalls, because a
Right.
lot of people do. They start. It starts with like a glass of wine, right? Like, let me just have a glass of wine again.
Well,
and again, and
Again and
And
again.
I just finished
Yeah.
3 bottles.
right? Or ice
So,
cream. And
let's
every
let's
night.
talk about that, like self-medication, right? I got into that for a little while till I got a DUI. Yeah, I'm admitting on here because I'm not ashamed of it, because it showed me a correct path.
Right.
Right? It's
Absolutely.
like I grew up in a culture where it's like men don't talk about their feelings.
Right.
Right? And your shoulder hurts, you drink a beer. Yeah, right? Your feelings hurt, you drink a beer.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know if there is a gap between men and women in therapy. Do men tend to self-medicate more or not deal with their feelings? Or is there a difference? Like, I'm not sure if there's a difference between male and female issues in therapy. Can you talk about that?
No, that's a good question. I think women are more likely to get therapy, for sure.
Right.
Women are more likely to get therapy. And I think that's because we've always been prone to be able to talk about our feelings, right? So it's not out of the norm to want to talk to somebody. Men, on the other hand, have a lot of, this male pride. Like, I got
That macho.
this. That macho, like, I got this, I'm just have a beer, hang out with my friends. I don't mind doing that voice, right? Did you see that?
She's learning.
The character.
Right, I got into character.
It's all right.
But men tend to. So it's definitely harder for men, I think. And I see a lot. I see a lot of men, and I see a lot of men in a lot of different roles. A lot of roles that most people would be like, really, this person's in therapy? Yeah, and it takes a while. They'll sit in the chair and they're uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
it takes like a minute. So they end up doing really well because it's almost like they finally got a place to talk. But initially,
They gotta fill it out.
yeah, they got to feel it out. Like, they have to make sure they're okay. And so I think that you're right. I think men tend to self-medicate a little bit. Well, women too, though. Women too. And I think women, I think what's worse is when a woman self-medicates, sometimes I feel like it can get really bad because she's hiding it, right? She just has a glass of wine on the table and she's like, coming home from work, take care of the babies, and maybe it's another glass and it's another glass. And, so it's a problem, but I definitely think with men, it can end up being like a big problem. Like, now he smells of alcohol. He's going to work. He's getting behind the wheel of the car. He's going to a happy hour after work because he got to blow off some steam. And we think that's okay, right? People say, oh, well, he works hard. He works hard. So I think it takes a lot longer. And then what I always tell people is, now you got 2 problems, right? So not only you have the problem that you started drinking for in the first place, but now you got a drinking problem.
Yep.
So now
Right.
you got 2 problems that now you have to deal with, which makes it so much harder, right? It makes
Yeah,
it
because
So-
I have more
so-
on your plate.
I want to chime in on something because Dwayne, that's a good question you just asked her, because with me and my cousins, I say we kind of raised ourselves. Like me and there's 2 of us, my boys, and it's like we made it okay to talk about how we feel about certain things.
Good.
Because we knew nobody else would listen.
With each other.
Right.
You mean
With each other. Yeah. So like, no matter how we was feeling, we told each other. And
good.
this has been going on since we was like 15, 16 years old. And I'm going to be 30 in 2 months. You know what I mean? So
Well, it's good.
yeah, so I think, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you, like, is that okay to do? Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wish more men would get together to support men through different struggles that they had. I wish that you all would do that a lot more. Like, I feel like men have a set of struggles also. I know recently I've been connected with men who have issues like with their child and child support, and now there's like a whole movement of dads supporting other dads who are in court systems not seeing their kids, and I'm like, yes, because what do you do when you're facing a struggle and you have nobody to talk to? So I love the idea of you guys giving each other permission to just talk about what's important. I think if men did that more often and normalize, like, you have just as much to talk about as I do, right? Or you do,
Right.
then, it would make it easier to do that. And I think that's huge. So I think that's awesome that you guys do that.
Yeah, it's really been beneficial. Like,
Yeah.
it's been helping us,
Yeah.
like, for real. And I appreciate them.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about pros and cons of it being a man and a woman, but I like the way this is going. So
I'm like,
I think some other things that we should talk about is like, does it have to be a why somebody goes to therapy? Can I just walk in and say I feel like talking to somebody?
Yeah, of course you can. I've had people that I've had in therapy for years, and they don't come to me like they did in the beginning, right?
Right.
So now they come in like once every 3 months. But they just do that just to they're just checking
Like a
in.
check-in.
Just to kind of like check in, just like, hey, everything is going, better. I'm still doing, whatever. I haven't fallen down any like rabbit holes or anything like that. So yeah, I think that why always wait to have a problem, right? To just talk about it. I mean, I think it's usually something that you're going through that'll bring you to therapy. But
Right.
no, I think you can go anytime that you want to just talk to like an unbiased party, right? Somebody who isn't like knows you and judges you, but
yeah.
somebody who does not.
I just want to say I commend anybody in that field that can sit with somebody, listen to them. You really have to really be like a person of the people. You really have to
Yeah.
really care about people.
I
That's
do.
true.
And I really respect what you do. And
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that. I should have said that in the beginning, but I just wanted to say thank you. And I really appreciate the fact that you love people.
I do love people.
And and I love people. Sometimes I don't want to be around people, but I love people. And Dwayne, do you love people?
Not always.
I was gonna say I like my dogs
You
and I like to be in my house.
I like fur people.
I like fur people. I don't really like
I'm
people.
gonna be
Not
100% honest. One of my role models growing up was the Incredible Hulk.
My guy.
Right? Now, here's the reason why that was. It's like I didn't want to be extra, but I'm extra.
Just naturally
Extra
happens.
too.
So I got to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I'm a talented artist. I can draw. I can do this. I can do that. And I didn't like getting attention for it. And it was weird to me that I got attention for it because I didn't draw these pictures to get attention.
Right.
And then I got attention, and it's like I went right back in my rabbit hole. And it's like not everything is for everybody. And it's like then it's like society has these rules, and I've never been somebody to follow. So I've always had this feeling like I don't fit in because I don't often. And it's like people don't really know this about me, but I'm a quiet person at home. And it wasn't until I was 19 and I worked at a supermarket that I was scanning people's groceries and I seen everybody, and I would have to talk to them small talk, And that's when, I learned that I'm funny. I didn't think I was funny. I was funny because my family's funny, and then I became funnier than them over time. I'm fortunate to have this picture of me, my brother, and my uncle talking, and I said some shit to him. The three of us just cracked. It was like the first time I was funnier than him, and I haven't looked back since. I'm like the funniest person in my family, and I'm gonna say that on here, and I'm gonna look right in the camera. I am the funniest person in my family.
Intensity.
And just to add on that, I am the funniest in my family, and well, I didn't think so. I thought my little sister was. Because my little sister, no, she's hilarious.
I'm the funniest person in my family too.
I think I'm just funny.
They promote me as the
corny,
funniest,
but-
because I do the voice impressions. I'm animated. I'm always loud, and my laugh is hilarious. I mean, it is hilarious too, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So
I'm just saying he's probably not the funniest guy at this table, but you know.
You're just saying.
y'all
yeah, because I'm sitting with ladies. That's right.
Yeah.
All ladies. 3.
Oh.
You in the category too.
Nah, that's just.
Bing, bing, bing. Psh, all right.
That's just his, false masculinity. Step into the thing.
False. Oh my gosh.
So, the thing is, it's great to have friends and family to talk to.
Yes, it is.
Like, that is great. But I noticed talking to a therapist, you have somebody outside your private circle. Because sometimes you talk to family, growing up where you grew up, because I grew up with her family. It's like you say one thing to somebody that the whole circle knows it.
Yes.
So
I hate it.
Yes.
So
I hate that
that
Nothing's
that
really
is
private anymore.
horrible.
Absolutely. And then you temper what you say. So
Yeah.
you like half say it.
No.
Right? Half say it.
Now you're thinking like, should I say this? Should I not say this?
Right.
How should I go about it?
Right.
Let me not just say that out.
Now,
Right.
now that's fine. It's fine to do that and whatever. And it's sorry to put the family on blast a little, but people talk, and it's normal. Yeah. So people talk in general, right?
my
Yes.
house.
Absolutely.
So, you got the tools, you got the trade, just like, someone fixes a car with their tools.
Right.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the tools? Because I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. What do you do there? What
Like,
do you
I-
do? What
I-
makes you special?
I took a class.
No, you special. Don't say that.
I took a class called Interview Techniques, Death and Dying, and Family Therapy and Treatment. But I dropped out like halfway the first time because I thought I might want to help
It's
people.
like boring. You're like,
It's like, nah, I don't. That's when I established that I don't like people much. I was like, yeah, no, I don't like them that much. This is too much.
Yeah. I love people. You know what I love about people, love about humans, is that every human has like
The sole purpose?
yeah, right. Everybody has a sole purpose, and everybody makes mistakes,
head.
but it doesn't make them a mistake. Like I wish I could scream that louder. Like you can make a mistake, and it doesn't make you a mistake, because people start defining themselves by the things that
They've
they
done
do,
wrong.
and they forget that there's a whole other part of them that is good.
Yeah.
Right? Like they hone in on that one thing, and that's
Yes,
all
like
they
tunnel vision.
become. Right? And then you talked about identity,
Yeah.
and that's what they identify. Like, I do this, and that's who I am, and that's all I am. And I'm like, no.
But to
so
chime
much
in
more.
on that too,
So much more.
There's people who are, and I thought you was gonna say, people that judge people off the mistakes that they do, and then that's who they are, and the perception is, they just fuck up.
Right.
Instead of just saying, hey, well, people fuck up, and people can learn from this, and
Yeah. I mean, everything's like a learning process. I feel
Right.
like
Right.
you learn and go.
If you
through
want to
it.
learn, you learn. Right?
Yeah.
If you want to learn,
If you want to.
you
So,
learn.
what are some tools that we can use in therapy that we can apply to our day-to-day lives?
So what you could do for yourself. Okay, so I think that one of the biggest things that I do in therapy, or one of the things, is I want people, and maybe, so these are things you can do for yourself. Try to make connections. Nothing comes out of nowhere. Nothing comes out of nowhere. No behavior doesn't have a backstory. Everybody has something.
Right.
And if you just try to dig back and figure out like where something comes from and make sense of it, then you can move on. Like I learned this about myself as like an adult, with disclosure. One of the things that I figured out is like I'm a doer by nature. Like I'm always doing. Like, oh, you need me to help you move? Oh, you need me to help you pick it? Oh, you need me, and like. And then I realized, so, my story is like, I had a father who left, right? Who just walked out, kind of unexplained, left. No, like the guy who went out for cigarettes and never came back. Yeah, that was my father, right? He was that guy. And so I realized that piece of my life, that wanting that validation to be good enough for somebody, probably is how I even got into the helping profession, right? And so but I had to but I didn't know that while I was doing, I thought I was just doing, right? I just thought that's just who I was. And then I realized that I was trying to get something from it. And so one of the tools that I would encourage people is to try, what is your real story? Like, what is your real truth? Like, why do you do that? Like, if you're a guy and you're like a womanizer, why? Was your father disrespectful to your mother? Did your mother have a lot of boyfriends? Did you like see a lot of disrespectful things in your family? If your parent was like an alcoholic, is that like, and had a lot of rage, does that have a lot to do with your temper? Like, because you can't fix a problem if you can't even define it, right? So I would encourage people to do that work. And then the other tool that I would tell people to is find one person. If you're not going to come to a therapist, that's fine. Find someone in your life who's less likely to just give you unsolicited advice, right? And find somebody who would just listen to your truth and just sit there with it. Like, not just tell you what to do, right? And expect you to do it and be frustrated because you didn't. Right. But really just kind of like sit there and accept what your truth is. And I feel like those are things like people can do like on their own. The other thing you could do is read some like self-help stuff. Like,
they have so many books out there.
There's so much out there, right? Find something that really applies to you, and then don't just read it, but like run it by somebody, like someone with some sense. You know what I mean? Everybody knows somebody with some sense, right? And find somebody in your life who has a little sense, and just say, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think that makes sense? Or have like an opinion about something, right? Actually have like a strong opinion about like something, especially when it has to do with yourself. And I think those are things that start to help you be the best version of yourself, And I think those are things that, you can do in therapy, but for some people who maybe not ready to go to therapy, or some people just not ready, those are little things that you can start to do on your own, even without a therapist. Right. Does that make sense?
So I have an idea real quick. Why don't we each ask a therapist a question, right? Like we're gonna get in. Yeah, we're gonna make you work.
Do we?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Do you know what my fees are?
Yeah, they sponsored the shit.
Dwayne got this.
They sponsored the
Dwayne
shit.
got this.
Dwayne got
Speaking
this.
of sponsor, Mark is wearing beard oil by Lily's, all natural products.
So
And I also got the chapstick.
now that being said, big up Lily's, but I'll dish out some of my stuff. I have a question for a therapist.
Okay.
Right? So since Erin is sponsoring this program with her
Amazingness.
amazingness, right? Me and Erin are friends. She talks to me. She doesn't judge it a lot, and I always say I feel bad for asking.
Never feel bad for asking.
And today's a free day. Okay,
It's a free day.
today's a free.
It's always freedom, my friend.
One free question.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm a workaholic.
Yes.
Right, and I bury myself in things, and then I come up for air, and then I get like, what is this? And I kind of always want to go back in, and I haven't taken a vacation in over a decade. I took a 2-day vacation once in 2011, and that doesn't really count. So it's like I'm working on slowing things down for myself, and maybe trying to get into relationships or whatever. But it's like, how does a workaholic come off a light?
It's not easy. I think that like a workaholic, so a couple of things, right? I'd say is Are you a workaholic because you absolutely love the craft and you're building something, or are you running from something, right? So there's a difference between building and avoiding. Like sometimes people go all in because it's easier to do that than it is to entertain other aspects of your life, right? Like the time that's sitting down and, okay, maybe I'd like to meet somebody, or maybe I would like to do this. Like, nope, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that because this is like my focus. So that would be one question I would ask you. And then the other part is the only thing stopping you from stopping is yourself. So you have to demand more of yourself to be able to fit in part of your personal life. You have to do that, right? So you have to want to do that. You have to have the desire to want to do that. Like, okay, I need 2 hours every weekend, or I need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And so you have to schedule it in and make it a priority if you acknowledge that it really is a priority.
Yeah, I know for me personally, not being in a regular relationship, that's a big part of like why I haven't gone on like a cruise or an island retreat or anything. It's like, oh, well, I'm not with somebody. I use that as an excuse to stay in the game. But I do love what I do, but I think that some of that is like avoidance, but then I don't know, because I really love what I do. So maybe we can talk more off the cameras and stuff to establish something. Yeah, it's now I'm gonna plug and play, and I'm gonna see if Mark or Elle got a question that they could. She's smiling.
I'll say my hands are all clammy.
You got a question? I got one.
Oh, you got it.
You want me to go? So, Miss Therapist.
Yes.
All right. So, in a relationship, right?
Yes.
How often should the couple be intimate?
Okay, so this is what I would say. So in a relationship, believe it or not, sex is 10%. Believe it or not, it is 10%. If there is a problem in that area, it like takes over the whole percent, right?
Wow.
Because that is where you connect with somebody. That is where you have no phone, no work, no computers, no anything.
No
right?
distractions.
No distractions. And so is there a number that you should be meeting? No, but I think it's more about what are you doing to make sure you connect with your partner. That is, sex is a form of connection. It's a form of expression. It's a form of how you show love, right? It's a form of how you express love. So are you expressing love in your relationship? Because usually when people start having problems, isn't that one of the first things to go? Like that's usually one of the first things to start to go when they're having relationship issues. So a healthy, normal sexual relationship should be happening pretty regularly. It should absolutely, because you should desire to be with your partner without hesitation, and both ways, no matter whether there's kids, whether there's busy schedules. That shouldn't be something you have to try to figure out. It should be something that naturally you want to connect with your person that way.
Just
Fucking thank you.
gonna have to open my Google Calendar for this.
There's no damn excuse why you ain't giving up the drawers.
I don't know who got Mark hot, but
Hold on. Get the drawers, dog.
This guy's always on the sex. I'm just saying.
I love it.
Always going in.
That was the good answer, right?
Yeah,
See, that's what
Damn right. That's why I'm
good
happy.
answer, right? Yes.
But because it's coming from a therapist too,
Right,
so
so
you
you
know,
can use that. You should quote that.
It's valid.
you know it holds weight. You know it holds weight.
But there is no magic number, right?
No, there's no magic.
But you heard her. It should happen.
It should
very
happen.
often.
Did she say very often or
frequently.
often?
She said
Very
it.
often.
She said
It should be happening.
She said it don't matter if you're busy. It don't matter. None of you should be doing it. You heard her.
If you're busy, find time to get.
She said it don't matter. She said it don't matter if you got kids. It don't matter if you're busy. You should be able to get busy.
I feel like you're stalling for
I
Lindsay
like
right
that.
now, though.
Stalling.
I feel like you're stalling for
I have a
Lindsay.
question.
Right
Oh,
okay.
I have a question.
Oh,
Go ahead, Elle. Let's do it, Elle.
So my parents recently separated. I'll be a little open. My parents recently separated. How how do you recommend balance? Like, I don't know how to balance. Like, and I'm trying to balance both of them. So
Right.
how? Help me.
I know that's a tough one. That's a tough one because you're an adult. I think sometimes it's really hard for adult children of like divorce because they've been a couple your whole life,
Right.
and you're like
a lot of people say that it's the other way around. Like, because you're older, it should be easier for you just to be like, all right, cool, fuck it, like it is what it is, y'all out. You know what I'm saying? But it's really
right
not.
because now you're an adult, and now you have to try to balance between do I see mom, do I see dad, who's gonna. So I think that the best thing to do in that situation is just to tell them the truth, like. There's no manual for who I'm supposed to see and what I'm supposed to do. And I don't know if this is right or wrong. I don't know if I'm going to be hurting your feelings or not. Like, this is new for you. This is new for me.
Right.
And I don't know how to handle. I think that's like the best approach instead of you trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
They're feeling like I got to figure it out.
I feel like I'm in a puzzle sometimes.
It's 6 hours and I got to give 2 to dad and then 2 to mom. And maybe I'll go to the other one, right? Or figure it out. I think the best thing is to just be honest with them about, I don't have the answers to this. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm sure they don't know what they're supposed to do either. Right. So I think that's the best approach so that you kind of let yourself off the hook and just kind of let them know, like, I don't know. There's no manual for being in this situation with the two of you. So if I choose to spend, time with, I don't want you to have hurt feelings because I don't know the answer.
Right.
And I feel like that's the best thing for you to do is just be honest with them and just let them know, like, I don't know how to handle this. Like, I suppose over time, it will all start to make sense, but it doesn't make sense right now.
It's fresh out the womb.
I'm fresh. Right. Like, this is fresh. I think it's just owning that. Like, I don't have an answer for how to do this. And maybe sometimes I'm frustrated or mad or I'm still, like, maybe in shock.
Trying to figure it out,
I'm still maybe in shock. Yeah.
So Erin, we would like to have you on more often, and we would like to introduce a segment called Ask a Therapist.
I would love to
And
hang out with you all. I want a shirt, though.
yeah, you're definitely going to get a shirt. So the idea for Ask a Therapist, we want some feedback from like some Twitter stuff and we'll occasionally ask for help, right? Free help. Right?
Absolute free help
but we want,
for everyone.
We don't want to
Free.
make this
99.
We don't want to make this free help. We want it to be more like a sponsorship.
Yeah.
Right?
We used to have Dear Abby back in my time. Dear Abby.
So you
I'm
have
lying with somebody.
a private practice?
I do have a
So
private
if
practice.
somebody wants to talk to somebody, I noticed one of the things that you said earlier is that you don't have to go to therapy every week.
No,
Right?
absolutely not.
You don't have to be committed like this is a
Like it's a gym membership or
relationship
something.
or
Yeah.
people ain't committed to that gym membership either. But that's one thing. We exercise our body, like exercise our mind, our emotions, etc.
absolutely.
Now, so we can go when we need to or when we want to.
Yes.
That's a thing. That's cool. I never knew that. I
didn't know
always
that
thought
either.
I thought it was like physical therapy. You had to go to better than you could be free.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Yeah.
that. How would one get in touch with your private practice?
Yes.
Or are you on social media?
I am, but I keep that very separate. So my clients will judge me, and I don't need to know their personal life. They don't need to know mine. But if they were trying to reach me, they could reach me at carterclinician@outlook.com. So clients email me. They could just shoot me an email and say, hey, I don't know, I was thinking about blah, blah, blah. Usually what I do with people, I don't make them commit right away. I will literally almost give them a free session like via the phone right off the bat. So somebody will call me and be like, I don't know, what do you think? And then I'll sit on the phone with them for like 30 minutes and just like hash it out. And then I'll like, let's see if we're a good match. Like, did you feel comfortable talking to me? How was that for you?
Do you love me?
Please don't love me. Please don't.
Yeah.
So they can reach you at Carter Clinician
Carterclinician
at outlook.com.
Yes.
All right, now y'all go ahead and find her now. She's awesome, and I think she did really well today with us. Huh?
Wonderful,
Yeah,
delightful.
I think she's a
Thank
part of
you.
the family now. I think.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Even if you was trying to leave, you
You
couldn't
talking.
anymore. So
I know. This is exciting.
Next time I'm gonna have some drink.
So
Sip.
so
we do that?
if
Can
you
we do
want
that?
to
yes, we can.
like that.
yeah, that's for the after party. If you want to talk to Erin too here, feel free to hit us up on our Twitter at YouTalkIt. So if you have questions, just hashtag you hit us up at #UTalk it, hashtag therapy for us. All right, we'll get you answers from the source.
And they can be anonymous too, like if you don't want us to say whom,
yeah,
which
absolutely.
is fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you want to talk to Erin directly, what was that?
CarterClinician@outlook.com.
All right.
Email me your questions.
All right now. Thank you everybody for tuning in with You Talk It.
We bring it.
See you next time.